Hello everybody, hopefully you're having a great holiday season. Sorry for not posting in a while, life has just been incredibly hectic these past couple of months. I'm now working night shift at a retail store, which sadly I have to do because I need the money to pay off my loans, that kind of thing. But who knew the side effects of working such a schedule would mean an increased risk of depression? Okay, so enough with that. The Mandalorian Season 2 is chugging right along, and might I just say, wow. I'm loving this season much more than the first one, and I cannot wait to see what is in store. Also, as this video will be me recapping the season so far and talking about my theory for the show, there will obviously be spoilers. So if you aren't caught up with that or just don't want to even entertain this idea, click away now. Alright, so here we go. This season has seen Mando on a quest to return the child to the Jedi. We got a tease of Boba Fett in the first episode, some sweet Bo-Katan action in the third episode, and some insane world building in the fourth episode. I'm not even that mad about the M-Count reference. The fifth episode is where the show is beginning to hit its stride, with the first appearance of Ahsoka Tano in live-action form. Honestly, this was my favorite episode of the entire series. Dave Filoni did a fantastic job of both writing and directing here. Rosario Dawson was a great choice to play Ahsoka. But what got me most excited about this episode was the multiple reveals it presented. We learned in this episode that the child's name is Grogu, and then he was trained at the Jedi Temple on Coruscant before the end of the Clone Wars. Someone, we don't know who, hid him away during Order 66, and he experienced memory loss. I think that's going to play a part at some point. So to all the people out there saying he's powerful in the Force, and to be a strong Jedi, you don't have to be trained.
Take a seat.
We also learned that Ahsoka is refusing to train him because of his attachment to Mando, seeing him almost as a father, which is pretty neat. She claims his emotions will render him dangerous, and she prefers to let his abilities fade instead of honing and perfecting them. So instead, she orders them to Tython, the site of an ancient Jedi temple, where he must sit on the Seeing Stone to reveal his fate and allow him to choose his path forward. The sixth episode saw Mando and Grogu travel to Tython, where they run into Boba Fett and the Imperial Remnant. As a fan of the EU, I absolutely loved seeing Boba Fett kick some butt. Now that Grogu has been kidnapped and Mando is embracing his inner dad to rescue him, I'm so excited to see where the show will go from here. Will Grogu die? How will Boba Fett be incorporated into the show moving forward? It would be so cool if by the end of the season we see the Jedi that will hopefully seek Grogu out. My money is on Cal Kestis, but I wouldn't be opposed to Luke finding him either. Ultimately, I'm not even sure how this season is going to end. I would assume we will see Mando trying to get Grogu back, or the last episode is losing against Moff Gideon, so Season 3 can be all about Grogu and Mando reuniting. The fact that I'm even making this video just goes to show how exciting Star Wars can be if care and effort are put into it. Okay, so it's theory time. It's pretty deep, so bear with me. Mando and Baby Yoda, sorry guys, can't help myself, obviously have a pretty deep connection already through 2 seasons. We have seen Mando change into someone more willing to help others and do the right thing since he's met Baby Yoda. Maybe he's always been that way and he just suppressed it for a time, but still. In Episode 5, Ahsoka encourages Mando to reach out to Grogu in a way to encourage his opening with the Force. We even see the two of them bonding before they reach Tython. Mando even calls Ahsoka the nice lady, which is pretty funny and heartwarming. Everyone is expecting a known Jedi to seek out the child, to train him, and ultimately move away from him being the main focus of the show. But what if that doesn't happen? What if this is all one big red herring? What if, and hear me out,
Well, we're waiting.
Mando is the Jedi who will teach Grogu?
No, God! No, God, please, no!
Stupid. That don't make no sense.
You're probably thinking to yourself that this guy is crazy. Has he even been watching The Mandalorian? The Mandalorian isn't a Jedi. But hear me out. When Ahsoka is trying to see what Grogu has learned, she encourages Mando to open himself up to him. It may just be the camera trying to emphasize their relationship, but what if it was showing that Din has Force sensitivity, and it was just suppressed this entire time? We have seen how stubborn Mandalorians can be throughout the newly established canon, i.e. the Clone Wars, Rebels, and especially this show. We also saw it heavily throughout the old EU or Legends. This season especially has shown us that the showrunners are planning on incorporating the best parts of Legends into the new continuity. The Mandalorians and the Jedi are old enemies, with Tar Vizsla being the only Jedi Mandalorian and being the one to create the Darksaber. He was also, from what I understand, the last one to be called Mandalore. What exactly is that title? The information I'm about to share with you comes from Legends, so it remains to be seen what is considered canon anymore in reference to this material. Mandalore was the title used by the supreme leader of the Mandalorian people and its culture. In its truest native rendering as Mandalore, the title meant sole ruler. Mandalore became the title passed down for use by subsequent leaders of the people for generations after. Functioning as a combination of both king and warrior general, the Mandalore was the closest thing to a head of state the widespread Mandalorian clans possessed. For years, the position was traditionally symbolized by the passing of the Mask of Mandalore upon the death of the previous owner, but in later times this custom has faded into antiquity, and new Mandalorians needed only the support of the people to ascend to the role. Some of the warrior clans believe the one who possesses the Darksaber is the rightful ruler of all of Mandalore. Again, in the current canon, Tar Vizsla was the last one to be officially declared Mandalore. In Chapter 8 of Season 1, the Armorer speaks of the conflict between Mandalore the Great and the Jedi. I'm not sure if this is canon's version of Mandalore the Ultimate. That remains to be seen. If so, oh boy, do we have a lot in store. But what if Din Djarin, aka the Mandalorian, is the one who will take up his mantle? So what if, after the events of Episode 6, Mando now realizes the impact that he will have to have on Grogu's life and how he must be the one to save him? What if by defeating Moff Gideon, he is the one to reclaim the Darksaber, and as a result, he's seen as Mandalore? We've seen the Darksaber pass through many hands throughout the years. Pre Vizsla was ultimately killed by Maul for rule of Mandalore back in the Clone Wars, then it was lost for a while, and eventually came into the hands of Sabine Wren during Star Wars Rebels. She gave it to Bo-Katan, and she somehow lost it to Moff Gideon during the events of the original trilogy. We still have no idea what the Great Purge was, and why Mandalore is a waste of a planet. We'll probably learn the Empire glassed it in an effort to stop the Mandalorians from regaining control of the system. I think that eventually Din Djarin will be the one to retrieve the Darksaber from Mandalore and realize he himself is Force sensitive. Whether he will seek out training, I'm not sure. I definitely think someone like Ahsoka would train him, mainly because he's more disciplined and in control of his emotions. But Ahsoka did say if you aren't trained at a young age, you can lose the ability. But as we have seen with Luke, I'm not sure that's entirely the case. While Luke was incredibly strong with the Force, we didn't start seeing him training to become a Jedi until he was almost 22 years old during the events of the original trilogy. Personally, I like the idea that the Force is mystical, and like any other religion, because that's what the Jedi belief is, let's be honest, you can't explain everything, nor should you try. But I definitely think he will be the teacher, quote-unquote, that Baby Yoda, Grogu the child, whatever you want to call him, ultimately needs. I think it will lead the series into Mando looking for other Mandalorians to help him reclaim the title of Mandalore, and he will eventually become the sole Mandalore, and not necessarily like a Jedi, but something of a Jedi, if that makes any sense. This won't be a reboot of the sequels, mainly because that's far-fetched and never going to happen, but it would be a way to explain what Ahsoka, Din Djarin, and Mandalorians are doing during the sequel trilogy and why they were not around to help the Resistance. Disney is never going to redo the sequels. I think that's just preposterous. What they will do, though, is ignore them and instead focus on The Mandalorian, Ahsoka show that will almost certainly happen at this point, and The High Republic as the future of Star Wars. Maybe they can return to the sequel era after a couple years has passed and people aren't as upset about it, but who knows? Ahsoka is also looking for Grand Admiral Thrawn, which I thought was a great little teaser at the end of the 5th episode, which would continue the story from Rebels. Maybe, just maybe, we'll see Mando eventually team up with her in the unknown regions to deal with Thrawn. But if anyone has been reading the new Thrawn books by Timothy Zahn, I don't think it will be that straightforward. It would be so dope if they are redoing the Heir to the Empire trilogy, but in live-action format. That will have to be a theory video for another time. Alright, but what do you guys think? Is this theory too far out there? Is it just what you're looking for? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, Excelsior, and may the Force be with you.